Oh, hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Janice. Good morning, everybody. You know what day it is.
It's Wednesday.
And so that means it's Facebook Live with
Hi,
Kate
everyone.
Richburg and Janice Parsons live from our headquarters here at beadshop.com in Redwood City.
I'm learning we can talk at the same time.
We can.
Yes.
Have you been watching morning talk shows?
Yes.
right. So The View, You've Got Nothing on Us,
Yep.
The View, right?
Yep.
That's
or,
right.
Or what was that Java Joe one with they have a pink mug and a blue mug?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
But yeah.
Yep, here it is.
Here we
we don't
are.
have our colored mugs. We
No.
just have our coffee mugs.
That's right, our coffee mugs. So I know that this is mine.
So
no
what
one
are we
else takes
doing
it.
today?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you decide. So no, today, you guys, we are going to jump in and work on Tahoe, which is going to be so super amazing. And we're going to talk a little bit about the journey that Tahoe actually made. But as always, I like to start out with a few little, with a few shout outs and a few things. So Gracie, we've got people starting to jump on, I'm sure.
Darla says hello to both of you. Linda says hello.
Hi, Darla.
Hello.
And Linda also mentions this is her favorite part of the week. And of course, Geeta says hello.
Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
A bunch more hellos. We've got Trish and Lynn and Nancy. Let's see here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anyone.
We love
Is
it.
Drea and Eli on?
Bonnie. Not yet, but
No,
they
yeah,
always
they
shout
do
out
it.
when they join.
Yeah, they'll
And
always be
Gwen,
there.
your mother says
Oh,
hello.
hi, Mom. You know, my mom she wasn't watching last week. We were a little worried, and
Wait,
she had a little bit of an accident with her foot.
I know how it.
Yeah, but she's
Gwen,
good.
How are you doing?
I think
Hanging
she's
in there?
she's on the mend.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Oh,
she's
good.
still. My pops has to do a
Yeah.
lot of getting things for
Yeah.
her, but she's on the mend. So thanks
Okay.
everybody for all your well wishes for my mama, and she's on the mend for sure. And making up her kits. She just finished. When we chatted yesterday, she had just finished her kindness kit, or is on the way to finishing it. So it's super cool that she's taking some time for beading.
Well, what did your mom think about having a kit?
She
named
loved
after?
it in her,
Yeah.
as she likes to say, this is the Gwen kit in her
Yeah.
signature color, which
Yes.
is kind of cool. So
Yes.
her signature color maybe is a little more teal, but this is actually my signature color, I think.
okay.
But it's close enough. So we've got some great shout outs from people, and I wanted to share some things. Some emails, and I love to see that you guys, when you email, a lot of you work on your emails like I do in the middle of the night, which is kind of cool. But I have a couple here that I wanted to share. Today we're going to talk about, as I said, about Tahoe, and we're going to talk a little bit about journeys and the journey that you take when you create a project. So Alice, one of our customers, Alice, she wrote in, and I'll read this out, and then we'll look at what she sent. She said, "Hi, Kate and Janice. I had to share my story of my bracelet project. I made a bracelet 5 years ago after discovering Nicole's video instructions. She still has it, and she's enclosed a photo of it, which I have here. And she says, yes, it was made with knotting cord and those incredibly long strands of KO thread wrapped around the leather until I was ready to add the beads. I think I even used the colors that she used in the video. I also clipped my cord as instructed by Nicole and tried to wrap it and hide it under the next color. I love the bracelet and have worn it many times. The cord is beginning to fray, but I will never take this bracelet apart for repairs. I still use her method of laddering beads by using thread from opposite sides of the bead." She continues on to say, "I finished my Grace bracelet yesterday and have also enclosed a photo of it. What a transformation in skills and design. I love doing this project and remembering that original bracelet I made so long ago with Nicole's instructions. Thank you for doing this wonderful remembrance." And she says, "I still have plans to try the multi-strand knotting, but she's watching her grandson these past 2 weeks, and that's taking over her life."
I'm
So many
jealous.
thanks, Alice. So Alice sent in a couple of photos, and I wanted to share those photos. Gracie, I don't know if you can see these well enough, or if I need to move them around. Or is that better up closer? So this was that original Nicole project, that herringbone original, and then here's her Grace project here. And I think one of the cool things about these two pictures, it really represents a design journey, right, and a design metamorphosis. So it's really great to be able to start in one place and then journey, and end up with this other piece here. So that's pretty cool. So thank you, Alice. We love those photos.
I love that word journey.
Yeah,
Journey.
Yeah.
That's a great, another word for create and design.
Yeah.
Because it is a journey.
Yeah,
You're traveling and you don't really know if you allow yourselves to just free up and not worry about where you're going to end up. It really is like a journey.
Yeah, you really just, let the creativity take you where it's going to go. So we have another one that's kind of also on this journey theme. It seems like everybody got together and decided what they were going to let us know this week. Everyone was on the same page. So Diana sent us this photo. And she said, can you see that okay, Gracie, right there? There you go. She said, Janice and Kate, everything used to make this bracelet comes from beadshop.com. She said, it took me a long time to figure out a way to use the circular vintage discs, which I have right here. This is our you told me the name of it, Gracie, and now it's gone out of my head. Blooming Flower, yes. She said it's taken a long time for her to figure out a way to use those circular vintage discs. I love them enough just to carry them around in my pocket. So what she did was she went through a series of creating and decided that she wanted to use some knotting. And so she went in the style of Chinese knotting all the way around using, and she doesn't give the size that she uses for this leather, but she did this Chinese knotting with the leather. And then notice how 1.5, that's what I would guess too. And then see how she used our macrame knot as the slider at the end. So Diana's journey is kind of, adapting some different things that she got from us and then kind of creating her own design based on this jade disc here in the center. And I think the design is really, really wonderful. She also shared a website with us where she learned a lot of her knotting techniques. It's called fusionknots.com. And she said that the tutorials there were really, really great. So she said, I appreciate everything you do, your choice of cool stuff, your Wednesday topics, and y'all's depth of knowledge and desire to share. I see you both. Warm regards, Diana. So that's really cool.
Diana.
Thank you so much. We love that photo.
So speaking of journeys, while you're chatting and chewing, I need to go on a journey to just go get a couple of beads I forgot to get.
All right, so you go on that journey,
I'll be right back.
and then I'll finish with the So you journey, JP, you journey. So the last one that we wanted to share, and Janice, I know you can hear me still in there.
Yes, I can.
Janice and I both got a great email from a customer named Darla. And Darla, we really, Janice has of course replied to you already, and of course your email's still sitting in my email box because I was a little overwhelmed as what to write to you. But she wrote, and I have it up here on my computer, and she shared a little bit about kind of her journey, what she's been doing. And she said, and I want to read this because I thought it was pretty cool. I'm a woman of a certain age, in the autumn of life, finally allowing myself, after raising a family, to do the things I've always wanted to do, to make beautiful jewelry. I love all the mediums, and I'm learning so much. I feel creating is so key to remaining alive and connected. And we completely agree, and we're so stoked and happy that some of this, what we're doing here on Wednesdays, is actually resonating with you guys. It's really, really great. So Darla, thank you for your kind words to me, and you said a whole other set of kind words to Janice, so thank you.
I love the part that Darla said about how it's important to talk to us older beaders out there and to slow the learning down and repeating. So what I had said to Darla when I replied to her was that my mother always, taught me, speak to the oldest and the youngest, and you'll be okay. So
it's a great philosophy.
Hi, everyone out there my age.
Oh, Janice, we're still super young. What are you... get out your stick, start walking it through. But we really, really appreciate it, and we feel like you guys are really going on that journey. What? Don't. This is live, you know. But we really, we're glad that you're coming along on this journey, and we're going to journey through some of these projects. So I'm going to pull these, Darla. I'm going to put these in my pocket because I, like you, except I don't know if I have any pockets in these pants, so I'm going to put them over here. But I, like you, love carrying around like little rocks and stuff in my pockets. Yes, Gracie, it looks like you have a comment you want to share.
I do. Kathy actually just made a Tahoe bracelet this Sunday, and she loves it. I just thought that was a really cool thing to say, and everyone's saying thank you so much, and a lot of people agree with Darla's comments.
Oh, great. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So we hear you as
hear you.
best we can.
Yeah, what? What? Whenever I yell at Janice across the... Hey, Janice! What? What? I think that's what my husband and I only do. We only talk about what we're going to have for dinner and ask each other what the other person is saying. What do you say? What did you say? And I can't see it. Right. Yes. So that's, what are we going to do? We're still upright. And we're happy
to be upright.
That's right.
Yes.
So let's talk about the journey that Tahoe has taken.
Okay.
We have actually started with last week. You guys saw Odyssey, which we did last week. And this week we're journeying through Tahoe. And then next week we're going to end this kind of extravaganza by journeying through poetry. That's what's coming up next week. But when I was thinking about this, and I get all of my best ideas in the shower in the morning as I'm thinking about, the show. And I thought, these 3 projects that we're doing really do represent kind of a journey that we're taking here at beadshop.com.
Right.
These are 3 of our classic pieces that we've kind of reimagined in these beautiful kits and these beautiful colorways. And I got to thinking, so who do these kits, not only do these kits great for like the beginning beader, but it's also, I think, a great opportunity for beaders or designers who maybe have had a little more, experience or a little more seasoned. It's a great jumping off point to start your own journey making these pieces. So with Tahoe, or with the Odyssey, it's a nice simple project. We did that last week. It's a great one to watch. So I'm going to slide those guys over. But with Tahoe, we've got 2 new colorways here. And these are new kits that just went up on the site last night, actually. And we've got Deep River and Red Canyon.
Correct.
Right? Those are those guys.
Right.
So this, I think, was one of our all-time most popular projects on beadshop.com.
It was by far the single, and it started.
The
Kate,
journey stared here.
Yeah, you were other places.
I was away.
So we were about maybe a year and a half into a beadshop.com after we closed the store, and I sort of, leather bracelets were becoming popular, and I don't know how it came to be. I just sat down and I liked these Tierra cast sliders, and I put together a single, if you want to maybe put this in front of, I put together like a single wrap bracelet with a nice hook, and
you can wear it for wearing anywhere.
That was the bracelet, and it literally took off. So it's such, even thinking back on it now, Karen was here at the time, but we ran out of the beads. And then we bought these beads from everyone in the United States.
Right.
I mean, I'll do a shout out to, Art Beads, to Fire Mountain, to Rio Grande, to every wholesaler. We bought everybody out of thousands of beads. And the leather, it was like overnight. It was an overnight sensation. We got calls from our competitors, like, what's going on here?
Right.
And it was just a simple little bracelet, but it somehow resonated. It was in the right place at the right time. And then we started, like saying, oh, you can wear 2 of these together.
And stack
then,
it, right?
And then that's where I said, well, wait a second.
And make some different colors.
Why don't we make it like a 5 wrap?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where we then created it in different colorways. And then more recently,
you added more beads to it,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then more recently, we made it into the 7 wrap, which
is so delicious.
It's been very, very, also very popular, and it just people love it. They can give it to the man in their life. They can wear it as a necklace. You can wear it like all year round. It goes with jeans. It really doesn't show mistakes. It's an easy, effortless, like this takes maybe at the most 3 hours to make, and I would say 2 of those hours is just
playing around with your beads.
Yeah. And the actual putting it on the leather, crimping it is like boom, it's easy.
Well, and the cool thing I think about the journey that you took through this design, and it's something I want to emphasize with all 3 of these projects. These are excellent springboards for your creativity, and I look at making a project and remaking a project kind of like an artist does when he goes to continue to, you paint the same landscape over and over when you try and look at it in new ways and see new colors and new combinations. So I feel when a project is revisited like this, you start to become a real master and your design sense really evolves, and it really shows revisiting this project from this project to this project, how the patterns evolved. Yeah, Gracie.
Kate has a good question. She asks if in between the transitions they're the same length.
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a good question.
We map that out on the handout, so if you go to the project page and you go to the individual, especially these new river, Deep River and Red Canyon, they're below the project map. Should we show them?
Yeah, let me
pull that up. Project map is where like how to lay out your design. Most of these on this particular one are about 4 inches between the 2 transitions, and what we recommend is, because this particular design has 8 sections. What we recommend is sort of creating 8 little piles of beads. Take your beads out of your kit,
and we're going to do that in
and
just a
separate that into 8 little things, so that you don't kind of run out of, I'm all out of Hishi, and
I've used it too much.
That's happened to me more than once.
So one of the places that you can find that learning, Gita and everybody else, we've kind of, as Janice and I were discussing this morning, we were kind of talking about how the creativity and the journey is also, not only is it a metamorphosis in our design, but it's also a metamorphosis in our learning.
Right.
So one of the things, and I want to point this out, it's really true for most projects, and Gracie, if you've got this okay in here, it's really true for most projects. When you go to our projects page, and you click on projects and all of the projects come up and you drill down into one of them. This is Deep River, our latest one of the kits we have out. As you scroll down, at the bottom of all the projects, and I thought this was genius, before I came back on board and I was poking around the website, I saw the project maps and I'm like, this is all you really need to make the project, really, So the project map is the project laid out in all of its glory, so you can see the whole piece in its entirety. And then below, a lot of the project maps have this, some don't, but it's some place where we're moving towards, has project notes, particulars that you'll need to know about the project. Also, many of the projects also have an accompanying PDF. And sometimes there's a video tab. There's an accompanying video. So there's, a bunch of different learning that occurs around this. But the place to start, where you go when you immediately get your project or start to work your project, is this project map.
Right.
right?
Especially for the newer learning, we're trying to, because we were talking about this, some of the handouts relate to, especially when we first started at beadshop.com,
Very
we
specific.
had really unique bead, and then now we can't get it anymore. So we're trying to create new samples, but then it may, like for
Adapting
instance,
the
this
learning.
is a good example where the originals were on,
I have it
on
right here.
strands like were
I have it right
strands of tribal beads we call padres, and the holes are different, or the leather has gotten a little thicker and it won't fit on the tribal kind of beads, and so we're grappling with making new samples that we can get the product again and again, and that the frustration level, because there are going to be some of you out there who've said, hey, you've sent me a new strand of leather or a new strand of beads because my leather didn't fit with the beads. Everyone out there that's happened to, raise your hands.
People are nodding their heads at home, going, "Yeah, it's happened."
What we're trying to do now is rearrange the ingredients and the learning so that it's much more consistent, and we can go forward, and we're not going to go, well, where is that one bead? We have something that we can order again that will fit the leather, and we're not going to see. I don't want anyone frustrated out there.
Well, and one of the things I think that also happens is, adaptability and thinking creatively and outside the box. And so that's one of the things that you're going to touch on as you do this piece. And I'm also going to do that with this kit. I actually have the kit ingredients out for this Deep River piece. So the way that this gets started, and I thought this was pretty clever. In this kit, the kit we've actually put in, the exact amount of the ingredients that you need, and so the leather comes in a 3-yard length, correct? So we want to divide that leather into 1 yard and 2 yards.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to jump in and cut my one piece of, as far as I remember, it's still 36 inches. Whoops, and I'm all tangly now. And we're going to go ahead and cut that. May I have
Yeah,
the
sure.
cutters? Now, when you start, it just depends on what you like working on. I'm working on just my simple velvet pad here.
This doesn't need a design
you don't
board.
need anything
You're not,
fancy.
Yeah, you're not tying it down or anything.
And so we chose for this kit, we chose the toggle. And I like a toggle. A lot of these projects, whoops, that's the wrong one.
Yeah.
A lot of these projects have a hook on the end.
Right.
But we decided to mix this one up a little bit with the toggle.
Right. The hook was the trademark for Tahoe, but we decided. So the next thing you want to do is you want to put on one of your transitions.
So we've used these transitions like a large crimp tube, okay? And so that's what holds the leather all in place. So I'm going to slide this guy on. And the kit has 1 millimeter leather, so it's a little...
It's easier.
It's streamlined. Yeah, it's easier to deal with.
Because I can take out what we originally worked with while you're doing that, and we had the 1.5, and we had the 1 millimeter in the center, and that's okay if you have to bring the leather back into crimp, and that 1.5 I'll show you after we get going. So you want to make sure you're leaving room for it to wiggle.
Right, that you have a little bit of room, and this is the stress point on this bracelet.
Especially a toggle.
Yeah, so we really want to make sure that you have enough air here. And I've got a little bit of an end. I've inserted the other piece of leather, that 1 yard, right in between the two.
Can you pull it all the way towards Grace so everyone can see that that's in the middle, and then you can...
Yeah, let me pull it up there. I'm going to exaggerate it.
For us older folks out there. So
you can see that right there. And I'm going to slide this up a little bit, Gracie, so you can see that it's nice and tight. And now I'm just going to come in crimp that flat. Since all of these 3 pieces,
Okay, pull it back a little bit
little
so
bit,
we
you
don't
think?
wait. I don't want to waste too much leather.
Okay.
Yeah, just enough so you can cut it.
there we
Okay.
go. So I'm going to come in with my flat plier, my chain nose, and I'm going to give it a little flatten. It's still not quite tight enough, but I'm not going to kill it with my plier. I'm just going to come over and I'm going to do an equal amount of crimping on this side, and then I'm going to flip it again. I'm going to get a little closer to me so I can really get it in there, and flatten, and then flip it again and flatten. Okay? And I want to make sure I'm firmly getting everything inside there, and I give it a nice tug. We'll see if I was, yep, there we go. And this, you really want to make sure that it's tight so that this centerpiece doesn't pull out, because if it does, later, you're going to be sad. Okay? So you can come in, and I'll go ahead and I'll clip this now with my cutters, and I'll really, just like you're cutting a piece of wire, wedge it in and clip it away.
And this project doesn't need glue.
No, no glue. No
Just
glue.
a pliers and tape measure and a cutter. That's it.
So now I'm ready to start stringing things up. And like Janice mentioned, so I've got all my little components right here. You can make, this particular project has 8 sections. So I can divide up my beads into 8. Now, into 8 little piles. Now I wanted to show, with the kit that we have here, the one that's made up, can you see how all of the beads are on the center strand and the 2 strands on the outside are bare? I think it's a great design. It really kind of showcases the beads on the interior. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in this, Janice. I'm going to go off reservation, as you like to say, and I'm going to go here and put my beads all the way across
I think it's going to be fun.
on all 3.
One of the reasons in Tahoe they were on the center strand is because the center strand was 1 millimeter and it would
Exactly.
fit the holes of the Padres. Wouldn't go on the 1.5. So, so I don't count the piles. I just guesstimate. You know, 8 little. 8 little piles.
And it looks like Gracie has a question here.
We
real
do.
quick.
Trisha's asking, when you're flattening the transition, do you flatten the sides and then the middle?
Yes, actually, that is what I do, because the curve of the transition, I'll put it in here, but I won't flatten it. But can you see if I hold that to the side, I do this side of the transition crimps
To the middle.
Crimps flat on this side, and then I have to turn because the tip of my plier doesn't get the whole thing crimped. So I turn it around, crimp it again, and then I come back in when it's a little flatter, and I'm able to evenly crimp that bead all the way down. So yeah, it's a series of gentle flattening crimps.
Could we talk for just a second while you're separating
Yeah.
those about the wire straighteners? These have been they have been in the handout as an option to crimp the bead, and in large part that was at the time when we did this. These particular beads were not as sturdy, I think, as they are now, and that the wire straightener was really good for crimping them. But now somehow TierraCast has changed up the recipe, and they're pretty indestructible, and you don't need this anymore to crimp. And also when we use these to crimp, they kind of would slip sometimes.
They slide a little
and
because
I get
it's
a
the
little,
nylon jaw plier.
So just a nice sturdy chain nose is going to do the job. Okay?
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Geeta's asking, it's the same procedure with Evolve as with Transition. Evolve is bigger, as she recalls,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Yes. And I was going to show that in just a minute, Geeta, so that...
Geeta's reading your mind.
She is. She is.
So you can see I've just got all of my
Thank you,
little
Geeta.
piles of beads. And we'll just see, we give you a whole tube so you can be super heavy-handed with the 6/0 seed beads. But I just have my little piles here, and we'll see how it shakes out.
And each of the sections is about 4 inches in length. You
so
did a little.
I made my little cheat
map.
sheet here.
Yeah.
So when I start, I'll start and I'll string some things on. But after I've strung, I can lay it on my little piece of paper and I can go, oh yeah, I'm just about ready to add my transition right here. So I'll use this as my little guide.
Sorry, we have a few more questions.
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna string and listen.
The first one is addressed to Claire, who says she's listening in her car while she's running errands, and she wants to know about the free giveaway.
Claire's jumping the gun on that free giveaway. So Claire, what we do have giveaways on our Facebook Live, and you need to listen to the very end of the broadcast, and it's one of the last things that I do. We give you a code that you go ahead and you put in your order notes. So Claire, if you can hang in with us till the end, we usually make that good for about an hour after the broadcast ends. So thank you.
My other question is from Ginger. She says she's new, but she doesn't know what we mean when we say evolve and transitions.
Hey Ginger, welcome. We're super stoked to have you. And Janice, I'll pass that to you.
Okay, so Ginger.
Janice.
Yes, Kate.
Take it away.
Okay, so this project Tahoe basically has three different beads. 2 of them we crimp. One is called transitions, which is a name now that everything is used in transitions, but we call these transitions. And then this one, which is slightly bigger, I don't know, can you see that one? Okay, that's called evolve. And then another name that we came up with, and this was like 6 years ago, we named these sliders. Now we have everything called sliders. But these two evolve. This is evolve. It's, I think, a 9mm. This is a 6mm. They both have fairly generous openings. The difference with the evolve is it's wider. So if you want to put in more strands of leather, this
that will accommodate
fit.
it.
Now, the reason we ended up using the evolve in the Tahoe project, and I'll show it in just a minute, is that when you go to feed all the leather in when you're finished at the other end, you have actually 4 strands you have to put through. And so this little guy, which is the workhorse, just won't fit 4 strands comfortably. It's way too tight. So that's why we had to start with the evolve, because we have to end with the evolve.
And one of the things, so when you go to our website, Ginger, and for those of you who may be watching this later, who are fairly new to beadshop.com, Janice is an amazing writer, and we've always, well, it's true, and we always, even at our brick and mortar store back in the day, we always had really cool names for things, and we kind of gave, them kind of the bead shop twist. Well, if you go to our website, all of our products are named, the names that we give them aren't really industry standard names. They're more romantic.
Well, not
names
much
that
we
each-
do is industry standard.
Right, it is really true. So we don't just call these, big crimps. We came up with a cool name for them, transitions, because it's a great way to make transitions between between your
great,
pieces.
by the way.
It's cool, right? So I'm going to show
Yeah.
this to Grace. So you can see when you go onto the website, everything kind of has a kind of, I don't know if any of you remember the J. Peterman catalog.
Yes.
Remember that? How J. Peterman always had beautiful
I remember
names.
how you used to say,
Yeah.
let's do J.
J.
Peterman. Yes.
You do J. Peterman.
Yeah.
You're J. Peterman. I don't know. I can't say it.
JP.
JP. That's right.
Yeah.
It is really true.
Yeah.
So I've done my first section here, you guys, and let me show you. Since I am putting
Let's
my
get your
beads,
little
my
guide
little
up there.
guide here. Since I'm putting all of my beads on all 3, you can see how this is going to look a little different with all 3 rather than having them, so they'll be spread across. So we'll see a little more leather on the piece, which I think is going to be cool.
You could also mix and do the next one just in the center.
Right, I could.
If you wanted, yeah.
I could.
Or leave one completely empty.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to go ahead.
Outside the box.
I'm right.
Okay, so
'Cause
now
you know
you're going
me.
to take one of the transitions.
One of the transitions.
And you want to make sure all of your leather is laying flat, in
flat.
the order. Like
Exactly.
you're driving a car, there are 3 lanes. Keep your traffic.
Keep your lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see how I'm putting my finger right down there? And now, since this is my first one, it's a little...
You don't really have to put your finger there. You can
You could
slide your
rearrange it.
transition on, and then when you go, before you go to crimp, just put them.
Make sure.
Yeah, because we want them to be able to do this project in less than 3 hours.
Well, you know
This
me.
is
I'm
not
a
a
little
6-hour project.
Well, I'm a little
So
meticulous.
just bring the.
All right. I'm not going to even look. I'm just going to put them in. Look at how
just
I'm
put
not
them
looking.
in. Don't look. Bring it all the way down.
I guess.
Bring it all the way down,
All right.
and then now, just decide.
Yeah.
Just put them in the order 1, 2, 3. Lay them flat. Get them the similar length, because you don't want one long piece of leather hanging out.
As I said, I put my finger down.
But now you can put your finger down.
Yeah, I
and-
can.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that right? You
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
So see how, so there it's flat,
Right.
and I'm going to slide this guy
Yeah.
up.
What's someone saying? What's the comment?
So a lot of people are wondering about these free giveaways. We've had like 4 questions.
What? I
and
love it.
asking how to enter the contest.
Oh, so I'll repeat it
And-
one. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
And Faye asked specifically about order notes, about
Oh.
like writing it at the
Sure.
end. But you can talk about it.
Yeah, and you
when we
guys,
do
we're
that.
going to talk about it at the very end. Just know that we love to do our giveaways. They always happen at the end of the broadcast, and I promise to give you all the details at the very end. You have to stick with
Okay.
us.
Right.
So, let's come in, and I'm just going to crimp. And see how that question about crimping from before, how this side gets crimped, and then I just really flip my piece, and I'll come in and I'll crimp it again, and then once both sides are crimped, I can kind of double check and make sure, and I make sure that it's all pretty even too. I don't
Yeah.
want a lot of bulging in
No.
the center. But now
No.
I'm ready to do my second section. All right.
Right.
So Janice, you talk about what you've got going on there. You're doing more of a take on the classic.
Right, which is using the 1.5 leather on the outside and the 1.0 leather in the middle. Okay. Now, some of the older samples have been updated, and they use the 0.5 leather in the middle because, in fact, the bead holes got so tiny. So I want to show you what I'm talking about. Let me get this. So many of the Tahoes, the beauty of the Tahoes is that they were done on, I'm going to move this all out of the way. They were done with beads like this, which are called padres, and these are tribal African beads made in Africa. And over the years, I mean, we've craved these beads. It's the #1 selling bead, I think, after shadows. But then I'm going to cut into it, and I usually don't cut at the end. I cut somewhere in the middle because I'm so used to wanting to not have the beads go flying. I also use a flush cutter. I don't use scissors. I'm always after the staff. Stop cutting with scissors. Scissors, the beads go flying. A flush cutter is absolutely the best tool in your studio. Okay. So if I look at, I'm just pulling some of these off.
Question,
And
Grace? Okay.
Okay, can I interrupt you, Janice?
Sure.
Or do you want to keep finishing
no. Always interrupt.
We had a customer who, when she used Evolve beads in the past and she flattened it, she said it became very sharp. Was it something that she did, or was it the bead?
Oh,
Like, when she flattened it, became sharp on the end.
Well, I would like to know about that because it might be a defect in the bead. It shouldn't get so sharp. Let's do it together. If other people are finding that out there, then I'd like to know, and then we definitely want to let Tierra Cast know if it's because they're supposed to be crimped.
well, and one of the things, so if we're looking at that longer evolve right here, one of the things I might be guessing is, since this is curved, when we're crimping it from the center, if you crimp maybe the sides a little too much, and maybe your leather is here in the middle, and you have some extra room on the sides, it could be that these ends get crimped down super flat, and the metal kind of gets crushed a little bit. So
Well, I'm wondering if let's try it together. Let's see if doing that.
But my guess is that you're working.
I'm looking at this Evolve, for instance, and I can see that there's a little tiny bit of a seam here, and it goes all the way around, and you don't see it. It's smoother on the transition. Let's try doing it, and let's see if we get a sharp, maybe that seam.
Well, also, you want to make sure that your leather is evenly distributed
Right.
across underneath the crimp.
Okay.
That,
So I'm doing it, it's a little harder than the Evolve, the transition. So I've done it on one side, then I'm turning it around. I'm doing it from the other side.
You're turning
I like the way you turn it. I
around.
like the way you do this. I've never, in all my years, I've never thought of doing
What,
that.
just flip
Just flipping
the
it,
crimp?
yeah.
Well, you know.
So,
Tammy wants to know, Kate, if
Yes.
this is the more complex version of the bracelet that you guys did at Beads.
Yes, we did the Beads of Courage. We went to the Beads of Courage event in Tucson, and we did a modified version of this Tahoe. And Tammy, both you and Art were there making one. It was really cool to see. We had 60 people that night make this Tahoe.
Wow.
It was really, it was so fun.
so I'm not getting any sharpness.
Kathy says that what Kate described is what happened to her to make the
that
sharp
would be my
edges.
guess. Yeah, because that
Okay.
metal was just, if you, like any time you're compressing the metal, if you smush it too hard, or if your plier kind of scoots off of it, you'll kind of dent that end and bring it together.
Right.
Yeah.
Tierra Cast, though, is a company that is so highly regarded. We got a batch a few years ago of the transitions in antique copper, and I went to make one of these samples, and the plating flaked off. And I called them, and Julie and that team got on it immediately, recalled all of the ones. So we take this very
Yeah, we do.
seriously because they're such a great manufacturer of metal beads. So I left a bit more of a loop than I would necessarily leave, but and if can we just see your transitions next to this? I'm going to cut off. I just want to show how much the transition on this end.
Right. See,
It
because
really
it's a little smaller.
looks better, than this does. There's no doubt about it.
I don't know.
Well, it
This
does. It's-
matches. I think the size of this leather. Real
Well, the problem is that when we go to end on the other side, you have to use the Evolve. So the
Right.
choice is you could start with a transition, but you have to end with Evolve. So I kind of like to bookend the design. So
I'm gonna
you
take this
keep
back.
going. So on this, I'm just going to start adding some beads, and this is the 1.0 leather. And now if I were going to put it together an ingredients list, I wouldn't put the Padres on because it gets, okay, this is what's happening. We put in an ingredient, then this hole doesn't fit. So you can angle cut your leather, and I'll try doing that and see if that works. If you have beads at home that you want to use in a Tahoe and that doesn't fit on your leather, I made a nice sharp angle cut. Now let me try putting some of these on again. Some of these will work. Where's that one that was so small? I don't know if I can find it now.
And you angle cut. Sorry, Janice, I wasn't. I was over here counting my beads.
this
You did
one-
the angle cut with the
With the flush
with
cutter.
the flush cutter. Yeah, that's
So
really
this
smart.
is the one that's really tiny that doesn't want to fit on. And you may get a strand of Padres that are all small. A couple things you can do if you really have to have that bead and you can't set it aside. You can hold the end of your leather with the needle or chain nose pliers and then gently try to push it up. You may damage the leather as you go, so make a decision, do you really need that bead or not? And I'm going to take it off because
You're
it's just,
deciding
see,
that you
I'm
don't.
damaging
Yeah.
the leather, and especially Indian leather, the painted leather,
It might scrape off.
it's actually not like 1.0 or 1.5. It's like 1.52. So I want to just point this out. In a new sample, we wouldn't even recommend the Padres. We would say go with a 6/0 Miyuki.
Which is really, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
bead. It gives you the same effect, and that's
Without
actually
the
what we're doing.
headache.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
we're doing in here.
Yeah. And the other bead that we're replacing is our favorite, the Hishi of all time. And can one of you guys hand me the batch of the silver Hishi? Anyone in there?
Anyone?
Thanks.
Anyone?
The strands, the whole thing. So we have been selling, I don't know if you can get a close up, we have been selling this Hishi now for 28 years, 30 years.
For as long, I think the moment you opened the store, you started
I
selling
know,
that.
and now
My favorite bead.
now we are giving it up.
We're saying,
We're going, it's getting very hard to get. Comes from Africa, it's getting very hard to get.
and they're a little inconsistent.
Very.
And
Some
so-
people go, wait, the last batch you sent me, I got a bright silver. Now it's dull or dark, or they're smaller. So
The cool thing is, in steps Tiara Cast.
yes,
with
and
these
they're
great
making
Hishi.
one. They're making one. It's and it's also hypoallergenic,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
So we're out of it right now in the antique silver, which matches the Hishi, but we do have it in the bright silver, and that's what's in your
That's what I'm
handout.
using here.
So I'm just going to string some of these beads.
So, Grace, let me show you while Janice is stringing. So what I've done here is, you guys, you can see, here's my second little section. And what I've done is, I emptied my tube of my 6/0 here. So I have a little more of a generous helping of the seed beads here. So my section is looking a little more full. So I may actually go back and forth between having something that's a little more sparse and a little more full. So I'm going to come in, I'm sorry, Janice, I'm going to scooch in front
go
of you.
ahead.
And I'm going to come in, making sure that all of my leather is sitting all the way across underneath the bead. Nothing is crossed, but they're straight in like little lanes. And I'm going to come in and crimp. And then I check it kind of before I do that final crimp, just to make sure that everything's laying correctly. Now I'm going to do that flip, and I'm going to crimp it again.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, Linda does. And she's
Linda,
asking
talk to me, Linda.
that the Deep River kit, she says that it includes transitions but no evolve. Will that still work? And I think,
Yeah.
isn't it regarding the leather size?
Yeah, so it's a good question, Linda. Good to point out. So we've done this whole kit in the 1mm leather. So it fits at the end right here. The transitions fit perfectly all the way across. When you're mixing it up a little bit, like Janice is doing in the traditional, maybe the more traditional Tahoe, when you're doing like a 1.5mm and a 1mm, you need, for that second loop, you need the width of the evolve. So that's why we have it here. But we kind of simplified the practice here and just used the evolve, the transition, sorry.
Okay, so I'm going back, and I want to show, I'm just going to move all this to the side.
And Janice, are you doing any kind of pattern, or are you just going for it?
I want to show everyone this, how we add the leather in. I just decided I'm on my own little journey, right?
Right, we're on a
creative
creative
journey. I
so
thought
why
I
not?
would put a little bit of something in this section here. Before I add, I've got to add here 2 more pieces of leather. So let me just get this even, and I could have done it your way of evening it out to begin with, but that would have been too easy, right?
Well, you know.
So I'm just going to pull it out.
That's the beauty of seeing 2 people work on the same project at the same
Right.
time.
Okay, so now I'm going to get, here we go.
I love those. I'm wild about those colors.
Aren't they pretty?
Yeah, I'm
So I
wild
just
about
want to
it.
kind of get it the same length. And in this one, we did use a transition at the beginning and a transition at the end because we stopped the extra leather here. They're all like, when you look at these are like looking at the inside of my mind. I'm telling you, because it's like I can't even describe how I did most of anything. But I'm going to add now, because this isn't that long, I'm just going to cut a couple pieces of this 1.0. And I'm going to...
And it's a great way, I think, to use up some of your... Like, that could be a different color of leather.
This could.
Right?
This could easily be a different color. So I'm going to put this in. And I want to kind of just make sure that they're in the right place. So they're on either side of...
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, they're on either side of the one that is the
center.
middle. Yeah. So I'm going to just bring those through.
And again, it's under that evolve, that bigger crimp.
Right. And then I'm going to take the chain nose pliers. Just make sure my leather's all kind of even and flat. And I'm going to go in. And I like to do this gently.
Right.
And I try to make sure the evolve is not like...
Right, skewed to the side.
Yeah, and I'm going to do the Kate where I just flip it over. That saves time.
The outside leather...
A minute off of my 2-hour project.
That's right. Well, see, we get it down. The outside leather is 1.5 that you're using, and the interior is 1.0.
Right.
Correct? It really...
Linda says, after watching you guys, I'm never throwing any lengths of leather out anymore.
No.
Well,
will you show Linda?
Let me pull it here.
This is
while
the
Janice is
best
crimping
deal.
it. So we have something, you guys, and this was perfect for it. Janice put this all out like a little cooking show. We have a bag, it's called It's a Lot of Leather, and you've seen that online. We have now a new It's a Lot of Leather, where it is sorted by color, which is pretty cool. And you can see you get a whole bunch of different pieces of leather. They range in length. In this, we just took a bag right off the shelf and opened it up.
Yeah.
They range in length from 3/4 of a yard all the way up to 4 yards, with the majority being about 2 to 3 yards.
And you know that I'm going to say, what is that 4-yard length doing in there?
Well, we're going to pretend that you didn't see
Yeah.
that. So, yeah.
But I did ask, and then so someone said to me at one of the, I think it was Jen said something about, well, the stain was a little inconsistent, or
Right.
the size was a little.
Right.
So we try not to put in anything that's damaged.
Right.
But it's such a good deal, and it's 30 to 40 yards. Mm-hmm. And even you get a lot of creative juices from, like, oh, what's in this bag of leather?
Yeah. And Janice put it, I love this. I just want to keep it just like this on my desk.
Okay, you can.
I like it.
Okay.
So it's a great way, Linda, we agree. Don't throw out any bits of leather.
And she says, Linda also mentions that she notices you're wearing the earrings from one of your past Facebook Lives.
I am, from the earring broadcast. You know, we're doing a little Throwback Thursday on earrings, so in the newsletter talking a little bit about it. But yeah, I love these.
And
Thanks for
Robin
noticing.
says, I got a lot of leather as a free giveaway, and she loves it, and now she has another in her cart.
Yay.
And Ginger says, it's not damaged leather, it just has character.
That's right.
And she said, and then Jennifer says that she bought a lot of leather recently, and she loves it.
Oh,
and she
cool.
got colors that she normally wouldn't have ordered, but it has pushed her outside of her comfort zone and loves exploring the new colors.
Oh, awesome.
So
Well,
you want to tell the story, a quick story about why the leather is in It's a Lot of Leather? It's because it comes on spools
Yes,
from India.
I'll tell that story.
And they're
if I
knotted.
knew
They're
it.
knots, like 3
So it
yards,
comes-
there's a knot. 2 yards, there's a knot. We sell 4 yards,
4 yards
with no
with no
knots.
knots, right.
So it's all like,
Right.
what are we going to do? And
So
then-
sometimes when you get like a piece that's 3.5 yards or whatever, we don't know what to do with
Right.
it. So we sort it all by color, and we put it all in these little bags and send them off to you.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. I also wanted to show you guys how I'm stringing these, how I'm holding this up. See how all of what I'm stringing is all the way down here? And I have all 3 of my little pieces of leather that I'm holding under my thumb and index finger. So I am not even paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just threading, so maybe I'll put 2 on
That's
there.
such a good thing, not paying attention.
Yeah, not paying, well, it's only beads, Janice. Nothing's
That's
too
right.
sharp.
That's right.
I don't think. 2 on there. Whoops, if I can get them on there. And then slide that down and maybe a couple right on there. And I just keep going across the line, and then I check it. Maybe I'll end with that one there, and I've got 2 more, so I'll put this and this. So that way I can kind of work on all 3 strands at one time. And so when I pull everything down, I can pull them out and I can see, oh yeah, everything is about even here. I like the way that looks. So in order not to spend 6 hours stringing this project, I can go ahead and now I'll put my other transition. So, you know, you're looking at these beads, you guys, as a whole picture. Don't belabor, oh, I put 2 there and I put, oh, but there's only 3 there. Just string them. Yeah, Grace.
Good question. Linda's asking how you guys decided on 4 inches for the length of each section. She's really curious how you guys decided 4.
Oh, Janice decided 4, and I decided to listen to her, but that's a rarity. But how did you decide on 4?
Well, the first, if you notice in the sample on the project map, the first one is a little less than 4, but I basically take the finished length and then I divide it by the number of wraps, and then I lay out my leather. I mean, I have to do it visually. I lay out the length, so I know I wanted a 4 wrap or a 5 wrap, and then I took my transition beads,
and just kind of sprinkled them across.
I literally put the clasp end here, the toggle here, and the bar here, and then I took the transitions. We put 10 in the package, but you really only need 9. And then I laid out the transitions, and I said, oh, that's about how far. And then I knew I had 8 sections. I mean, that's how I do it when I design. That it's not. I have to look at it visually. And then I actually do the math on it, and then I divide it, and I go, 4 times 8 is, 36 or 32, whatever, 32, and then the top, whatever, I can't think right now. And then you add the toggle and blah, blah, blah.
Well, and one of the things I also do when I'm doing the designing is I will kind of try things on pretty frequently to see how things are looking, to see if I like how it's stacking up. And a lot of times, Linda, when I start doing my designs, I start from the center and I work my way out.
Right.
Because usually the most important thing, especially in a necklace, but a lot of times in a bracelet as well, you need to be able to figure out what's happening in the middle, and then the ends will kind of take care of themselves.
So, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We have 2 Lindas, actually. So that's why
Linda,
it's confusing, 'cause
okay.
it sounds like
Linda,
I'm saying
Linda,
Linda,
right?
Linda. But our other Linda asks, do you think this project would work using large hole beads every 4 inches instead of the crimp?
What a great question, Linda,
Yes,
number
we
2.
have-
Linda
yes.
numero dos. So, we've got this Tahoe project where you can see we've used this slider bead, and Gracie, you told me what this was
Celtic
called.
wave.
Celtic wave. Can you see how this is a slider and how it's kind of sandwiched in between or alternated here with this transition. So we have a couple of transition sections, and then we have a couple of the slider sections. And so I would say you sure could use beads that have large holes for this, but every so often I'd make sure to bring everything together with the transition to crimp it down.
Or you could silk wrap.
You took the words right out of my mouth. You could silk wrap. You could macrame it.
You could knot. You could do an overhand knot. It would look chunkier, but you could do that. So should we show?
Yeah. So
you know
let's
what
take
we
a look.
you know what we didn't mention is that they're actually on the project our project landing page. There are 2 projects here. There is 5 to 7 wrap Tahoe, which is what this is, and then there's original Tahoe.
That's
just
right.
Tahoe,
Which is what this is.
which is what this is, and we'll bring both of them up to the top of the page if we forgot to do that. So, okay, so what I did here is I used the Evolve, and then we didn't get a tweezer today, did we?
I didn't tweezer.
We
I'm
didn't
sorry.
tweezer. Okay, so I added, I think, no,
Use the
get
Sharpie.
away.
Yeah, all right.
So we added, before we crimped the Evolve down, I added 2 more lengths of leather, and this is all explained in
the
the
handout.
Tahoe handout. And then I added a slider first on the first 2 rows of leather, then I took the second row and the third row, then I took the third row and the fourth row, then I took the fourth and the fifth, then I did the reverse. I went fourth and third, third then second, second and first, so that you have this kind of, you could do anything in this pattern, but I like it because it just reminds me of music on a page. So then I've got the Evolve on, I'm going to crimp that down, and then I'm going to lose those 2 extra strands of leather.
It's really nice. I like the mix of the beads, the kind of classic Tahoe, and then the beads in the center. It's a nice mix of the
So
two.
I need to use both hands because I'm one of the older in the
Oh,
audience.
Janice.
And the Evolve is a little harder to crimp.
Harder to crimp, yeah.
So,
But back and forth, slow and steady with those metal beads. Anytime
Right.
you're crimping, slow
Right.
and steady wins the race.
And Nancy has a question regarding, well, first she has to say she loves these bracelets and
Thank
she's
you,
made them for
Nancy.
herself, many for herself, and many as gifts.
Yay.
But she wants to know about how to end this project. She says that she finds looping with only the 1mm through the clasp does not give it, it's not extremely secure due to the thinness. And
okay.
she actually may have more written, but Facebook is not letting me see that.
No.
oh, okay.
So Nancy, you can always repeat your question too if we don't get it all.
And Melanie's saying,
uh-huh.
as a future Facebook Live, please could you introduce us to your staff? I'd love to put faces to names. They're all so awesome.
Oh, that's great. Well, you can go to our staff pics page right now and see a lot of our staff on there with our pics. We do need to round it out with the rest of our staff. But we will do. We'll have, maybe if we can convince everybody to, but you know what? Everybody's so busy working, you never know. We can pull them
That's
out. But you
true.
guys know Grace behind the camera, our lovely Grace Nolan. She is also our graphics designer and does such a beautiful job on making the site look amazing, as well as Karen Marshall, our webmaster. They really do a wonderful bang-up job of making sure everything looks great. Then we've got Jen and Brandwin and Myra in fulfillment, along with Cara and Ivan, also in fulfillment and our shipping. And we've got Drea,
Customer service
on the other coast, and we want to give a special shout out to her. Some of you may know our Tammy Powley. Tammy, who was the About.com jewelry guide over on About.com. She does a lot of our social media and writing, and Tammy is actually going under a little bit of eye surgery today, so we want to give her a shout out and say, hope that you are doing well, and we look forward to hearing how you came out of that. So it's really a family around here. And you guys, of course, we couldn't do this without you guys watching, so.
I'm sorry. Nancy just gave me the rest of her comment.
Okay, talk to me,
question.
Nancy.
She says, can you suggest and show another way to end the bracelet using 1.5mm? Maybe tying in a knot and gluing the center of the knot to hold it stronger. That was the rest of what that was cut off.
Well, you could end this with like a cord crimp and stuff as well if you wanted. Right? I mean, you could.
Yeah, I could see that it might eventually wear out, although the bracelets that I've made and have worn continuously, are you finding that it's actually breaking the 1.0? Is it, because I'm going to try now ending with the 1.5, which is what the original Tahoe has. I've added a little charm, which is a classic.
A classic Tahoe move.
Yeah. So to make it easy on myself, I'm going to cut them. I'm going to get them all the same length, and then I'm going to cut them all the same length. Because as I pull them through, if I know they're all the same length, then I know they're going to be even. So I'm going to put them all in, and I'm going to try doing this end. I've got the ring. Where's my, here it is. I'm going to put this on the 1.5 instead of the center one, which is the 1.0. I'm putting it on the 1.5, and then, can you see this, Grace? I'm going to take the 1.5, and I'm going to try to, I can do it with the Evolve. I'm going to come back through the Evolve with the 1.5, and that might just be the solution that you want, is just use one of the 1.5s instead of the center one. If you're using 1.5, it goes nicely into the Evolve, and you're done.
Yeah, and it fills it up, and it fills the crimp up nicely.
Yeah.
So Nancy's saying that her leather is stretching and she's afraid it will break. And Linda suggests that maybe she could use a cap end with glue.
You could.
Instead of that, and maybe what she
The
was
leather is
thinking.
stretching.
Yeah.
Is the bracelet tight on you? Are you getting the leather wet?
Those are all things that could
I
contribute
know.
to it.
It could. I mean, leather, like shoes, they're going to stretch. You know, well, you wear shoes for a while and they get bigger. That's the beauty of leather shoes. So it's going to give a little bit. It's a natural product. If we were working with plastic or metal, it's not going to stretch the way leather or even cotton would. But if it's stretching too much, could you send us, email me, go through info@beadshop.com, send some pictures, and let me help you problem solve, and we could go on air in future and figure out why it's stretching so much that you're not happy. Okay, so now I'm going to just come in and I'm going to take this Evolve, and I'm going to flatten it. I'm going to do the Kate flip.
And you guys, just to note, make sure like whatever pliers you have at home have smooth jaws
on the inside.
Because you really want to avoid marking this bead. And notice how Janice is crimping it with the middle of her plier.
Yeah, I'm not using.
She's not using like the tip, which also may make your plier slide off and nick the bead, because these beads are actually a pewter bead that has been plated, so they're pretty soft. But the plating also makes them nice and sturdy. The plating isn't going anywhere, but you really just want to make sure to try not to, mar it with your plier.
And when I use a flush cutter, what I love about a flush cutter is I can pull the leather away, and I don't have to worry that I'm cutting one of my good strands, because it will only capture what's in
the jaws.
Just make sure you're not cutting one of the ones you want to keep. And there's the little bracelet.
Look at how great that looks.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I don't know if I made it too short. I was just...
That's really great.
But it's got...
So how could you elongate? Let's talk about sizing for a moment,
Okay.
Janice, now that that's closed. What are some of the ways that people could troubleshoot? Like for this kit that I'm stringing, we've added enough supplies to make it up to about an 8-inch bracelet or a little more?
Well, depending... You could make it a 9-inch bracelet, but you won't get as many wraps, or you could make it an anklet.
Right.
It's all about
how many wraps you're doing.
So it'll make a 5 wrap. It's a 5 wrap, right? Yes, a 5 wrap. You could make it a 5 wrap if you have like a 7 1/4 inch wrist. There's enough. For an 8-inch wrist, my recommendation is to go to a 4 wrap and just make, more beads. You can really make it really super chunky. You could add, you'll have extras, so you could add more beads on. And it doesn't, when you have it wrapped, you don't really notice the difference between a 4 and a 5 wrap
Right.
when you're using all those beads.
Right.
Look how good that looks.
Right.
That's
So
just,
I could just end it if I wanted it to be a little, a little less
Right.
voluptuous.
I could also, on
bead-wise.
the end of this, I could add 1 or 2 jump rings,
A little bit of
heavy
chain.
jump rings, or I could add a heavy chain.
Tammy's saying chain at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
chain,
yeah.
chain.
But it actually does fit. It fits. It fits nicely.
Can we show one more time the difference between evolve and transition?
Yes.
Cindy's now asking about it.
Yes. Here
There's
is.
an evolve and there's a
There's a transition. There's an evolve. Let me stand it up. Is it standing up? Wait, let me put it over there. Then let me lay it down so you see. Thank you, Kate.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So can you point which one is what?
Oh, sure. This is the evolve, and that's the transition. This is the workhorse for Tahoe, is the transition. And it comes in antique copper, antique brass, bright gold, bright silver, and antique silver.
And before we wrap up this project, I did want to show just this real quickly, just to show kind of a little bit of a difference. Tahoe also, you can decide, like with this piece that Janice did, I just love this 7 wrap that has all of this cool kind of tribal.
Deliciousness.
Yeah, I just love this piece.
Yeah.
And
Thank
so you
you.
can see with this one how that strand is, that center strand is completely covered with beads. On this one, where I've done a 4-incher and I've got those beads kind of sliding around, you can also see how the beads, you could also tighten them up or make them, it doesn't have to be 4 inches.
No.
So if I maybe made this, I don't know, maybe 3 or, let me see how, yeah, that's about 3 inches. It's a little tighter. So you could, alternate back and forth. There's no hard and fast rule
Right.
about what length you need. Yeah.
Speaking of length, our friend Donna says that she has a really hard time getting the right size in her bracelets because she has a 5 3/4 wrist.
Yeah.
She says no matter how hard she tries, they're always too big.
Yes.
And Linda is asking if evolve and transition are both crimps.
Yes. They are. Sliders aren't. This little bead.
But you could use this as a slider or as a crimp.
This little bead doesn't
Doesn't
crimp.
So Janice, what's the
What would you do with a shorter, with a tiny wrist?
so show me how you would measure. We've done this before, but I think it's a really cool. Do you want to use my wrist?
Okay,
I think it's a
so-
cool way.
So we measure right above the hips of the wrist.
And usually we have
And you
my
don't want
hand-
it. You don't want it so it comes down here. For wrap bracelets at least, you want it about here. So your wrist is about 6.5. Is that about what
Yeah,
you usually
sounds
go
about
to?
right.
So if you're doing a multi-wrap, if you do yours to like 6 3/4, maybe even 7, then that's going to allow for
the width of the
width.
beads. Yeah,
For-
I usually go about 7.
Yeah, so for a really tiny wrist, my recommendation is if you find bracelets you really like and you want to wear them and they're too long, my recommendation is make yourself like a stretch bracelet with,
like a little bracelet guard.
yeah, and it stops the bigger bracelet
Right, from falling off.
falling off.
It's a good idea. Yeah.
Otherwise, for a wrist of like 5 3/4, you're going to want to take a measurement of about 6 to 6 1/4, multiply it, if you're making things, and you're going to multiply it by the number of times you want it to wrap. Then you look at your clasp and how you're ending it. You have to subtract that amount, and it's
Right.
usually about an inch
About
and
an
a
inch,
half.
because you can
Inch,
see
yeah.
this really, it's a big clasp. You
But
don't want to
I
forget
would measure from the crimp
to the
to
crimp.
that, yeah, and that's how much I'm going to subtract from my actual beading, because you want to know how much do I need to bead, how much leather do I want, and so it's, yes, this is the clasp, but you always want to add in,
Like the
okay,
loop from
how
door to,
much
what
of-
we call it, door to door.
How much is this going to add in length, so that then I know how much to bead, and I can't stress enough, you have to try it on.
Yes, yes.
You absolutely have to try it on. And you can even, I'm going to just,
Here.
I'll take this. Okay. You can even take a piece of a heavy paper and figure out your size, make a little cardboard
Oh, yeah.
thing, and then if you're making it for someone else, then you can wrap it and try it on.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. So
Super smart.
how are you doing? Are we
I'm doing okay. I think that for the closure, we can kind
We
of
can
talk
just-
it through.
Okay. Okay.
Shall we?
So yeah. So where
Let me
is?
put on a few. I've given you all of my transitions.
Oh, you
And
have.
there's my other class.
Okay, so you're going to.
Yeah, I'm just going to put a couple more on.
Yeah,
and I
okay.
won't, I have a little bit more to go on here, but let me just put, whoops, those are.
It's okay. We
those are-
can stop anywhere and
Yeah.
just. It's all in the handout. It's
Yeah.
not like we've left anybody hanging. We also showed how to do
Yeah.
it here.
But I want to show you how this, so I would continue, I have about 2.5 more piles
Right.
to go, so I'm going to just pretend that this is my,
Okay, so you're
I'm
gonna.
actually just going to
You're
take it off.
actually gonna
Or I'll
put
do
on
this.
your.
Yeah, I'll
your-
put on my transition.
Okay, and make them all the same length.
Yeah,
that-
so I hold them.
Okay.
I do that.
Okay.
And then I slide those guys in,
Right.
right? And we want to make sure I'm going
That
to
they're
slide
flat,
this down,
that
that
they're
they're flat,
flat.
and I've got my beads.
Right. They're not twisted.
Right. I put my
It takes
finger
a minute.
down.
It takes a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Then
You want to put on your clasp.
I'm going to grab my, I'm going to
Toggle.
put that to the side, that
Right.
to the side. And you put yours on the center. On the
I
center
do.
one.
Yeah, I do. When I can.
So that this toggle, and if you are using a clasp that doesn't fit onto the leather, you might want to add a little jump ring so there's movement, but this particular toggle that we have has a nice big loop on it so it moves nicely.
I think it's a good thing to check that before you start.
Yeah, it's
To
one of
make
the
sure,
first things.
Make
yeah.
sure your
You would do that
clasp-
right
yeah,
on this side.
You would want to check that your clasp fits. It's like I always say with magnetic clasps, before you string them into a looming project, check that it works. That
Really? Is that what you always say?
Yeah, check that the magnet
Right.
works, that the clasp opens.
Yes, is not gonna.
Okay, so
come
now
apart.
you're going to just feed it through.
Yeah, so just like we've done
right,
before.
Feed it through. There you go. And you continue pinching the transition beads in the leather where you want it to live.
And I
then
just
bring
pull
the
it
leather.
down.
There you go.
And what you want to do also, remember these strands, we want them nice and even. So I get a little tension on here as I pull it.
And this is the side that actually needs a little bit of air because this toggle has to turn sideways
And go up through
and
this
fit
loop.
through that. And if it's too close to the transition
It's
bead,
not gonna
it's
go.
too bulky and it won't fit. So you want to make sure you have a little bit of air there. It also helps to have the air so that there's no stress on
Right,
the
on
leather.
the loop.
Because toggles, that's the elbow. That's the one place where your project will fail.
Will
is
fail.
at
Is
that
there.
loop.
And then I'll just come in like I've done
Yeah.
all before.
Here you go.
Crimp it. I'm not going to crimp this
Oh,
yet
you're
because I'll
not?
finish it.
Oh, okay.
But you've seen us crimp. We're going to crimp
Yeah.
it down, and then I'll go just like Janice did there. I'm going to clip this
Right.
off and clip this
That's
off.
it.
So pretty simple.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
looks great.
all she wrote. I think it's
Wow.
cool. I do want to finish the other ones here. So
Yeah,
I'll
it
show
looks
you that.
Can you
fabulous.
double it so we can see it? I can only see.
Oh,
one
sorry.
section of it.
Yeah, here. Let me do it like it would actually be the bracelet
Oh,
here.
that's great.
And of course, we would take these.
Will you put
Take
the other
these
one
off.
next to it so that we can see what the difference is? Sorry, I'm wrecking your piles
That's my.
over here.
Those are my piles.
I'm sorry.
What are you
I'm
doing
sorry.
with my piles?
I'm unpiling them.
She's unpiling my piles.
I
You
wanted
guys,
to
you've
see-
seen it.
I just want to
Yeah.
see.
So see,
They
it has
look-
a little. They do have a different look.
They do. They have a very different look. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like it.
looks great, Kate. You did a great job.
Well, back at you, Janice.
good journey.
Good journey.
Good journey.
All right. So I hope you guys. Any final questions on this one,
No,
Gracie?
just a lot of comments saying how
Yeah.
beautiful both of these
Oh,
bracelets are.
thank you. Look at all.
Thank you.
That
Thank you
good.
for watching.
Yeah,
we
they
know
look
how
great.
busy you are. I'm amazed that
Well.
you found time on a Wednesday morning at
To be with
10:30.
us.
I know.
It's awesome.
I know.
So next week
Next week. Next week
we've
is
got
poetry.
yes. This is poetry. How I love thee.
You know, I want to talk about needles next week.
Yeah.
Needles. You can't do
Needles.
this without
No,
needles.
and we're going to talk about the difference between
Right.
the collapsible eye, the flexible eye, all of that. Yeah, Gracie Grace.
Quick question about Tahoe. Our friend, she missed the beginning of the broadcast. She wants to know if she needs to put glue in between the crimp.
Good
No
question, but
glue.
no glue.
This project does
Glue-free.
not use glue at all.
One of the few that we
Now,
have that
maybe
don't.
if people have their poetries their own at home, they want to email in with pictures this
Oh,
week.
yeah, we'd love
and
to see
we could
them.
show them next week.
Yeah,
If you've
you
done
guys
poetry.
have done poetry and have a riff on poetry,
Yeah.
we'd love to see it. But we're going to talk about this. We also have some cool kits that are going up
Right.
next week for you guys as well. So to wrap this up, it's what everybody has been waiting for.
Right.
A couple of things. We are planning a show at the end of March that is going to be, I think, one for the ages. You know, Janice, how long have you been beading? How many years?
55.
55. So your 55 plus my 25 is 55, 65, 75. That's 80 years
80 years, yeah.
of bead knowledge
Yeah.
that are going to be in this show.
I started really young.
Really young. Yeah, I did too. We were both about 2 years old when we started.
No,
I think.
no,
Right.
I was
That young?
12.
Okay.
I was 12.
All right. Well, I was 2.
But I started repairing jewelry when I was about 15.
Yeah.
In my mom's
in your mom's antique
shop.
store.
Yeah.
So we have planned a show all on jewelry repair. And so if you have questions, mostly beaded jewelry, but if you do have other questions about, I don't know, send them in. If we can't answer them, then we'll let you know that we can't. But
Well, you could probably answer a
lot of
soldering
metal
question.
a
yeah.
lot of metal questions.
Yeah.
So send those questions and a photo if you have it to repair.beadshop@gmail.com. And on the last broadcast, I think it's March 29th, I think is what it is. Let me just make sure that's right. That will be it's the 20, whoops, that's June. What time is it? What day is
Well-
it? It's the 31st. It's the last Wednesday. No, that's
No,
May.
that's-
Sorry, you guys.
Well,
It's the
in the
29th.
meantime.
It was. It's
In
the
the
29th.
meantime, it's
It
the
was the
29th.
29th.
Okay.
So it's for May 29th for that. So I
March
was right.
29th.
Who are
You said May.
Who am
20
I?
It's
What's
March. It's in it's in 3 weeks.
It's the last Wednesday.
The last Wednesday of March.
How smart
we're
you are,
going
Grace.
To we're going to talk about jewelry repair, how to fix things, broken
Glue. We're going to
chains,
talk about
all
glue,
kinds of
I hope.
yeah,
Lots of cool stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a few
Yeah.
cool comments before we wrap up. Nancy says she made poetry bracelet for her daughter and she wears it all the time. She says making it took her back to the macrame days of the 60s and
Yes.
70s. And Deb says your greatest giveaway is sharing your knowledge with all of us.
Oh, thanks. Well, we love it.
We've always felt this
Yeah.
is the best. The magic is
Yeah.
the learning.
Is the
You know,
learning.
turning the light bulb on. Yeah, worldwide.
That's right.
Yeah.
All over. It's
Yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah.
So-
Thank you though for that.
We have, speaking of kits, we have a whole ton of kits.
That's
I
right.
just thought I'd bring, look at this lovely tray of kits.
Yeah.
So not only do we have these that we have, the Grace and Beauty that we did for the Nicole Challenge, the Parade kit, which was super popular, our Says Who, the Tahoes, the Odyssey kits. So today what we decided what we were going to do is we thought, because they don't go on sale that often,
No.
we have a special going on today early. And some of you, if you opened your email, your newsletter earlier today, you saw this in the newsletter. We're taking 15% off of every kit that we have in stock. And all you need to do in the coupon code, it's KIT15, and you'll save 15% on all of your kits.
Okay, so let me just, I'm
Break it
the
down.
old person in the room. Mm-hmm. I go to the homepage, I go to the little bar at the top which says kits. I look at all the pictures.
You
I
choose your kits.
I choose my kits, I put them in my cart.
You do.
Then when I go to checkout, there's a little spot for coupon code.
That is. And what do you put in there, Janice?
I put in Kit 15.
That's the one.
Now, tell me now, I want the giveaway in the next hour, right?
Yes.
So that doesn't go into the coupon code. There's a little box that
There's
says
a box that
notes,
says
shipping
notes,
notes.
or tell us anything else you'd like
Right.
to tell us.
Okay.
Put it here or
Okay.
something.
So everyone wants to know what is the giveaway, and then they put it in the little
notes.
box. And
So in our
this is
kit,
Kit 15.
Kit 15, and it expires tonight at midnight.
Okay.
So if you guys are watching this later, I'm sorry that
Right.
that isn't valid. But always remember to sign up on our newsletter because we always have great
Right.
giveaways there.
And so it's
today's
15%
giveaway,
off kits.
kits only.
Okay. Okay.
So Janice, look what we're giving away.
I know. I just found out about
I
this
know,
this
she
morning.
did. She did. And she goes, what? You're giving
What?
away Padres? And I went,
No, we're giving away antique Padres.
Yeah, we
We're
are.
giving away like
the best Padres.
the best Padres
ever.
Yeah.
We
I
are,
know.
so look how beautiful that
I
is.
know these are
Sorry,
gorgeous.
Janice.
No,
They won't be
I'm
sitting on your desk
I'm
any
happy.
longer.
I'm happy, but they're really, really lovely.
Really delicious.
Yeah, they're very old.
So
They're
we're
very
giving
old.
you a beautiful strand of the classic ingredient in Tahoe, which is this beautiful strand of vintage Padres.
These are a little bigger, though.
They're a little
yeah,
bit bigger,
They're bigger,
a little bit bigger.
But you can use them in anything, and you'll be really glad. You'll really thank us later that you got this deal.
because they're so cool.
Thanks, Kate.
You're welcome, Janice. And a 3-yard length of the the 0.5
Yeah.
millimeter letter.
Which would be really pretty to float those on there.
So in your shipping notes before 1 p.m. Pacific time, all you have to write is Tahoe.
Tahoe.
So you go to our website, beadshop.com, make your order, put in your kit code if you're getting kits, and in the order notes, put in Tahoe. Don't put them here in the broadcast because we won't see it.
Right.
We won't send you anything here.
Right.
But if you go, make your order of any size, there's no minimum, put in Tahoe, and if you make that order before 1 p.m. Pacific time, you've got about an hour to do it. We'll throw those.
Right.
We'll throw that in your order.
Right.
Can you make it clear again? So, we are having a few issues with audio this episode. I think
Okay.
it also has to do with the updates that they're doing
Okay.
and changing. Can you repeat where to put your coupon code?
Sure.
And where to put, because it was going in and out for some
Sure.
people.
So Janice, where do you put your coupon code?
So I'm on the checkout page. I've put in my address. I've put everything in my cart. Right below the cart is a little box that says coupon code or gift certificate. You put Kit 15 in that box. And then on the left, there's a little thing that says shipping notes or tell us anything you want us to know, and that's where you would put Tahoe. So I hope that's. Are you going to show a card?
I am.
In the order, basically. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it
So right here,
go ahead. Oh.
under your
Can you bring
cart,
it
can you
closer, Kate?
can you see that, Gracie? The in your cart before you check out, before you hit right here at the bottom, how you want to pay, right there in that box that says anything you want to tell us, that's where you put in Tahoe for your free
Right.
gift. Then on the next page, as you go to
Can I do it?
yeah. As
Check
you
out.
go to, you got it okay? As you go to pay, you want me to do it? If you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Then is the discount code box up there?
Yep.
That's where you put that. Okay? Boom
Yeah.
and boom.
Boom and boom.
I like spelling these out
Double boom.
on the computer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right there. Gift card or
Right
discount
there.
code.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right.
And our friend Leslie, she just placed the order before you mentioned the note part. She can email us.
Yeah,
Info.
Leslie, email us. Okay, so we know.
Leslie, what's the initial? We'll look for an order that was just
Leslie
placed.
C.
We'll
Okay.
Don't worry about
find
it. We'll
it.
take care of
We'll
it
get
right
ya.
now. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you hear that, Ivan? Okay.
Yeah, Ivan's got you covered. Thank goodness. All right.
Okay.
Well, it's lunchtime.
It is.
We're going to go
Eat our
eat our
salads.
salads and clean this table.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
you guys,
Thank you,
as always,
everyone.
for watching. We'll see you. I've got a free tip Friday on Friday, so join us then for a
Don't
cool
we just
short
love
tip.
Kate?
Oh, Janice.
We just love
I love
her.
you back. And we love you guys.
Yeah.
So thanks so much. Well, have a great week and enjoy making your Tahoes. We can't see
Yes.
what you make. All right. See you next week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.